independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Tom Brady, about to be a six-time champion, takes the snap, drops to the knee, and the Patriots have won their sixth Super Bowl title. In the early 2000s, they won 3 of 4. Now they have won 3 of the last 5. Yes, it's still a dynasty.
Yeah, it is still a dynasty. What do you think of those apples? 6, baby, 6. This is what I've heard over the last, how horrible the game was. And from what we watch in today's world, where we just want score, and we want it to be like a pinball game or a video game, it was not easy on the eyes. The defense won the day. Period. Case closed. But when it mattered, Tom got it done. When it mattered, Tom got it done. But we expected a 35-31 game. We expected fireworks. We expected both defenses to be torched. We expected all of those things, and we didn't get it. We didn't get it. What we got was a defensive game that was more a chess match than a checkers match. It was more really between Wade Phillips, the guy who was the defensive coordinator, right, and Josh McDaniels, the guy's the offensive coordinator of the Patriots, facing off. That's it. Patriots won, period, case closed. I enjoyed it. Why? Because, yeah, I'm a Patriots fan. I will say it. I love it. I absolutely love it. He's got 6, and as I said earlier, it's good to see that something good finally happens to Tom Brady.
We moved the ball decent. We just couldn't get the points on the board, and for one reason or another. But in the end, it feels a lot better than last year when we did get some points on the board, and just a great win for our team.
Yeah, and did you see the insanity after they won the game? Just watching people out there, it was crazy. It was like, who is supposed to be the security at this? I've never seen so many people surrounding one person. And he's just trying to get to his teammates. He's trying to shake hands with the opponents. It was nuts. But, hey, they've got their 6th and fantastic. And can we just now put it to rest of who the greatest of all time is? It's Tom Brady. Not even close. That's 6. 6 Super Bowls makes you the greatest of all time. Nobody else has 6 rings. You've been to 9 Super Bowls. You're the greatest of all time. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So, Governor Ralph, it's the best way to describe Northram. Let's call him Governor Ralph for now, because he's not quite sure what he's going to do. He is, he's just, I think he's tone deaf and a buffoon. I think we realize this. So last week, he's talking about abortions and, well, the baby will be born and then we'll decide if we're going to, the parents will, and the doctor will decide if we're going to resuscitate it. And, then he walks that back saying, I didn't really read the bill that was out there in Virginia, even though I'm the governor, and this Miss Tran has the bill that I didn't really read the whole thing. So I'm sorry about that. And then the pictures come out of him in blackface or in a Klan's outfit. Not quite sure, because it gets a little confusing. First, the apology.
Earlier today, I released a statement apologizing for behavior in my past that falls far short of the standard you set for me when you elected me to be your governor. I believe you deserve to hear directly from me. That photo and the racist and offensive attitudes it represents does not reflect that person I am today or the way that I have conducted myself as a soldier, a doctor, and a public servant. I'm deeply sorry.
Okay, so he's deeply sorry, kind of, but not really, because you're going to do part 2, right? So first your mea culpa was Twitter, as that's what everybody does now. Then the tape statement, and then we'll decide, hey, we're going to have a second apology, but kind of, but not really.
When I was confronted with the images yesterday, I was appalled that they appeared on my page, but I believe then and now that I am not either of the people in that photo.
I still ask the first question, which nobody's asking. Who said that's a good idea to put in the yearbook? And what yearbook said, okay, we'll put it in for you? Anything else you want us to do? So first he apologizes. So you got Governor Northram. First he apologizes. Democrat. Remember, the Democrats are cool with third trimester abortions. Bring the baby out, decide if we want to keep it alive or not, and we'll go from there. But we're not okay with blackface. I said on Friday, and I continue, I'm an action person. I look at actions. Have 100 people that he's worked with, people of color, come out and said, this guy's awful. He was always racist. No, I've not heard any of that. I've heard a lot of people say, he's a pretty good guy, and by all accounts, he's never done anything. He's never said anything. His actions go against this incident, this picture. And remember, we're taking today's sensibilities, today's wokeness, and we're going back 35 plus years, and we're inserting ourselves today, which if we do that, every one of us has ruled ourselves out of ever doing anything ever again, from ever holding a job to ever holding office. Because all of us has said something, done something, offhanded remarked something, took a picture in some way, shape, or form, whether it's blackface or not blackface. Every one of us has done something. But don't worry, though. During his second apology tour, he decides to talk about, well, those may not be me, but let me tell you about that time I did do something.
That same year, I did participate in a dance contest in San Antonio, in which I darkened my face as part of a Michael Jackson costume. I look back now and regret that I did not understand the harmful legacy of an action like that.
I can look at it two ways. First of all, you darkened your face, which is, by today's standard, politically incorrect. Absolutely. Were you paying homage to somebody? That debate can go on all day. Ask Megyn Kelly whether or not it's a good or bad thing. But also, I could say you also darkened your face. You also tried to, you went out and paid homage to a man who's got a little bit of history with doing some things that, how should we say this? I wouldn't let my son visit him. I'm just saying. So he's having meetings today with African-American leaders of whether he should or shouldn't say. But during that conversation right there, somebody goes, hey, just out of curiosity. So it was a contest. He's like, yeah, I just did the moonwalk. Can you moonwalk today? He looks down as if to say, you know what? I got enough room. I could do this. And then he looks at his wife. She goes, yeah, not the time. Maybe she should be governor. This isn't the place. How about that? I'm an action person, though. Has he done anything? Now, he's hammered people in the past that have, quote unquote, he thought have done some stuff where you can consider it racist and wanted them to maybe step aside or alluded to certain things, right? Because everybody wants to virtue signal, so that's the most important thing. But I look at this and I say to myself, not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, I'm none of these. I look at this thing right here and I ask myself the question, what have his actions in the subsequent 35 years been? Has he fought to deny people of color anything? Has he fought for people to continue to be evil and bad, and has he fought for all of those things or against those things? Because I think that does matter. We all do dumb things, right? And in today's world, a dumb thing costs you more than ever before. In today's world, a picture from 10 years ago, a joke from 10 years ago may cost you everything, when it didn't cost you a thing back then. Was it insensitive? Yes. Was it idiotic? Absolutely. Does it rise to the level of he's an evil racist and he needs to go? This is the question we're having. And what I hear the argument on the right is, we want it to be fair. If a Republican did this, it's not even it's a non-starter. That person's gone. I mean, the Secretary of State in Florida just resigned. He literally, something came out, blackface from like 2005, boom, he resigned. And that's 2005, but he resigned essentially the next day. This is 1983, 84, whatever it is. Do I think it's right or wrong? I look at actions. That to me is something. And the problem is in the social justice world of virtue signaling, everybody wants to punish somebody as if they can never change, as if that represents who they are as a human being, when the reality is it was a dumb, stupid thing to do, an insensitive thing to do. But what have his subsequent actions been in the last 3.5 decades? That, to me, is vitally important.
He's apologized. He says he's ready to put in an effort to heal the damage he's caused. Does he deserve that chance?
He can have that chance. What he does not necessarily deserve is to remain in a position of trust and authority, which is what the governor's office is. What I've said is that no matter whether somebody's a Republican or a Democrat, that kind of behavior was racist and inexcusable.
Julian Castro right there on with Don Lemon. Again, actions. I know a lot of people out there who talk a great game, and behind the scenes, they're the exact opposite, and their actions show that. And I know a lot of people out there who are questionable in the way that some of the things they say and do, but their actions are definitely much more of a solid thing that you find. Again, I don't know this guy from Adam. He may be the leader of the Ku Klux Klan. He may just be tone deaf in this woke world. But I've not heard anybody running out from the African-American community going, oh, by the way, here's a bunch of other things he's done. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Did you hear Gladys Knight? She rocked it. And she crushed it. But the controversy is she sang Brave like 3 times, and people are like, well, wait a minute here. We bet the over-under, the whole 9 yards. And the good news is she did keep her shirt on. Adam Levine did not keep his shirt on at all. He had a lot of tattoos. It looked like people were practicing their tattoos. Like, hey, Adam, you got a blank space. Can I tattoo some here? And I'm tatted up, guys, and I'm getting more tattoos. And it was just it seemed very like eclectic, if you will. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. I will say this, though. If I look like Adam Levine, I don't know if I'd ever wear a shirt. Ever wear a shirt. Like, the most I would do is I'd wear a tie every once in a while. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show. Twitter, you can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, especially you men out there, do you know what's coming up? Right? It's called Valentine's Day. Now, every once in a while, we'll forget an anniversary. We'll forget a birthday. But Valentine's Day is one of those things. When you walk into a store, your wife, your girlfriend, her anniversary's not hanging out everywhere in the store. Valentine's Day is. And all too often, we're like, what should we do? 1-800-Flowers.com is what you're going to do. It's a no-brainer, right? Check this out. 18-stem Enchanted Rose Medley for $29.99, or double it to 36 stems, Enchanted Roses, $20 more. Unbelievable. Not going to find this anywhere else. You're going to get 18 stems for $29.99 is the Enchanted Rose Medley, or double it for $20 more. Shipped overnight, ensure freshness. She is going to love it. Don't screw up. Don't. Offer ends Wednesday. Get it today. Pick your delivery date. Let 1-800-Flowers handle the rest. To order the 18-stem Enchanted Rose Medley for $29.99, or double the roses for $20 more, go to 1-800-Flowers.com. Click on the radio icon. Enter code Benson. Order today and save at 1-800-Flowers.com. Code Benson. At Chad Benson Show. Twitter, ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Got that sniffling, sneezing, stuffy head thing going on? Time for your daily dose of Vitamin Chad.
Chicago's O'Hare Airport reclaiming the title of busiest airport in the U.S., taking it from Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, which came in second. O'Hare had more than 900,000 arrivals and departures in 2018, with a record 105 million passengers flying through the airport last year. 2 metric tons of cargo also passed through O'Hare. According to the city of Chicago, the rise in air traffic is due to 50 new routes, including several international destinations.
That's a lot. That's huge. That is massive. That's a lot of people to be moving through any airport. And Chicago, I've been to pretty much every major airport, and they're all, it shows you what good city planning can do if you've got the right people to set something up. Some things are set up, they're so awful, right? And it's a nightmare. And sometimes you don't think far enough ahead, and that's a lot of times what happens is they don't think far enough ahead when they design some of these things. And it's just, and by that I mean, even if the airport's laid out okay, getting into the airport at times can be a nightmare. O'Hare's okay. I mean, it's all right. Hartsfield is a nightmare even in the best of days. It could be ridiculous. A couple of them, a couple LAX, Heathrow's, Gatwick's very, Orly in France and Paris as well. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. You could tweet at us. I was telling producer Phil that a plane that was supposed to go from, I think it was L.A. to Hawaii, had to turn around not once, not twice, but 3 times because of mechanical issues. I have to be 100% honest with you. After one time, I'm probably going, you know what, you can put me on another one. The second time, I'm like, you're definitely putting me on another one. The third time, you're like, I just don't want to be here anymore. I'm just hoping it goes down. 3 times is a bit much. 3 times it had to come back. They gave them all their money back, $100 voucher for future flights, got them on another flight, and put them up for the night and gave them food vouchers. Yeah. 3 times. 3 to come back. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Governor Northram is fighting hard to keep his gig. Ocasio-Cortez and Michael Moore talk a little bit about that. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
If we get to the point where we feel that we're not effective, that we're not efficient, not only for our caucuses but the Commonwealth of Virginia, then we will revisit this and make decisions.
Wreck-It Ralph, and he did. Ralph Northram, their governor of Virginia, at least for now. Apparently he's begging his cabinet, please, let me stay on. I don't want to be branded a racist for life. I don't know the guy as far as who he is as a human being. Last week was not a good week for him, and it started out where he went on and started talking about infanticide and a bill that was being pushed through and the way he made it sound. And he in fairness, he came out later on and said, I didn't read the bill and the way I phrased everything was wrong. So, still awful, right? But, and then it culminated in the Friday, boom, here's this. Here is this. What do you think of that right there? That thing right there. That picture of you or somebody that is supposedly you, potentially either in blackface or in a Ku Klux Klan outfit on your medical yearbook pages. So, don't you think he's a racist? No, I think he's an idiot. I mean, just this to me alone, when a reporter asked him about this contest right? This contest that he was supposed to be in when it was a dance contest.
That same year, I did participate in a dance contest in San Antonio, in which I darkened my face as part of a Michael Jackson costume. I look back now and regret that I did not understand the harmful legacy of an action like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, because you don't think about what you're doing today, how 15 or 20 years from now, something is harmless in your mind. I don't think you were doing it to mock Michael Jackson. He was the biggest star at the time, right? He was. But I don't think you were doing that. But then the reporter goes, "Oh, so it was a contest. What was it? It was my moonwalk. Can you moonwalk today?" And he kind of looks down and he's like getting engaged, and he looks over at his wife. She goes, "Yeah, no, it's not appropriate. You're an idiot." That alone should disqualify you. That alone. People today, it's like, don't you think he's racist? No, I think he's an idiot. And I think he's caught up in the left will eat itself with their social justice. He's, according to their rules, he has to go. I look at actions and continue to do so. For me, have I heard a bunch of people of color come out that he's worked with in the past that have all condemned him for the things that he has done and how he's used his position to continually destroy their lives? I've not heard that. I saw a guy who did something completely asinine and stupid, insensitive, absolutely, and we take our social justice wokeness back to 1984, and a lot of things in a day-to-day basis were very insensitive and off-putting based on the world that we live in now. But do I think he's this racist, violent individual? I don't know his heart. I don't. 323-538-2423. And his lieutenant governor has issues as well because he is being accused by Big League Politics, who posted the picture of governor, of his lieutenant governor, of sexual assault 15 years earlier at the Democratic National Convention. And he says, no, that wasn't me. It was consensual. I was single at the time. And then, a lot of people are saying, well, wait a minute here. Why are you getting the, this kind of treatment? Are you supposed to believe everybody? Again, I don't know, but there is that as well. So it is what it is. Is this guy going to resign? I don't know. His biggest issue is, can he govern? That's it. Can he withstand this? And this will be a case for a lot of people going forward, because if he's able to be in a position where he withstands this and continues to move forward and continues to hold his place, this will be a situation where it'll be like a test case where everybody's going to look around and go, well, then why should I quit? Why should I resign? Why should I? So we'll see. We'll see if he can't govern. If there's no way that he can possibly govern, meaning even if he can withstand the outcry, can he work with people, and will people be able to work with him inside the legislature? I don't know. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Michael Moore. By the way, Michael Moore never says outlandish things.
It's too bad that you have to be 35 to be president. That we put that in the Constitution, the Founding Fathers, because people died at 38 or 40 back then. We need to lower that.
All right. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is that where you're going with this?
Could be running. She just has to be 30 by the time January of 2021.
So that's why they put it in there. The thoughts, hello, yes, of course, we're all going to die at 32, even though all of us are mostly older than that, but it's okay. So that's why they put it in there. Not that maybe you have some life experience, right? There's none of that, right? So, but then they continue on about who AOC is.
Look, everybody can out-progressive each other on their platforms. You're saying that she's got fire in the belly to get
She is the leader. She is the leader. Everybody knows it. Everybody feels it. She's the leader of this mass movement that is not, I'm not talking about a movement in terms of an organization. I'm talking about a Fox News poll this week where it said 70% of the American public agree with her on having the top marginal rate for the rich, their taxes, 70% rate on the rich. That's a Fox News poll.
Right.
Yeah, that is. So, look, I can ask 100 people, would you, that are middle class, have-nots, a few haves, hey, should we just confiscate people's wealth over X amount of dollars? I bet you I could get 50% to say yes. Does it mean it's a good idea? Right? Because a lot of times we think it sounds like a great idea, and then we found out that road to hell was paved with all those good intentions and was like, wah, 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 wah. But the reason I bring this in is because of what he starts talking about from here. I got nothing against AOC. I will say one thing. She's got passion, right? She is somebody who believes. I do think this. She has got a social justice warrior mob that is willing to protect a lot of what she does. I've talked to a lot of people who work on the Democratic side of the aisle, and they have said over and over again that there's a lot of people out there who have a fear factor of what AOC and her followers may attack, especially when it comes to the Democratic side of the aisle. The right expects it, but the Democrats don't know what to do, and they feel that they can't control. And as you know, the establishment wants control over all kinds of things. They look at themselves as this big machine, and she's disrupting their side of the machine, a lot like Trump has done. And then you get to the situation where it becomes too big, and you have to just give in. So there's some fear factor there. But listen to what Michael Moore says here.
Having her as the image of what Democrats are. Is there a danger if someone that progressive runs that it does turn off moderates, or do you think that's not a danger worth worrying about?
I'm not, no. First of all, if you're moderate, stop being moderate. Take a position, all right? There's no middle ground anymore.
He's wrong. In politics, meaning people that are in politics 24/7, right? There isn't. You have to take some sort of, you take your side. Right? Which isn't always a good thing, but you're kind of forced to pick a tribe, like you walk out on the political yard of, like you go out there to, to DC, right? The Capitol, right? It's like a yard, like in prison, right? And you got to choose your side to protect yourself. But the average person isn't like that. And there's far more of the average individual who is more intrigued by the Real Housewives and watching the halftime show and commenting on that than whether or not Northram should go or stay, than whether or not single payer is real or not. They're frustrated, but they kind of look at it in a very peripheral. It's over here. I'll vote maybe every 2 years. For sure, I'll vote every 4 years. But I got other things going on that are top of mind, and I don't identify with either of the extremes. But when it comes to the political world, yeah, that is the reality of it anymore. It is the extremes that are controlling everything.
There's no halfway point to should somebody be paid a living wage. Well, I'm a moderate, so I think they could be paid half of a living wage. On the issue of choice, there's no halfway there. Do you believe in equal rights for women? Do you believe that we should have an equal rights amendment? Yes or no? There's no middle ground. This is no time for moderation.
Yes, there is. Choice. It's a perfect example. You look at America, 55% of America, according to the last poll, believes in choice. 38% are pro-life. And some are undecided. When it gets to second trimester, 60% are like, you know what? Nah, I'm more pro-life. When it gets to third trimester, you know what? Nah, we're not doing this. You're now killing a child. It depends. There's a gray area in just about everything. This is where the extremes are. It's black or white. It's wall or nothing. It's black or white. And that is sad. But the average person who doesn't sit around all day watching Fox, watching MSNBC, watching all of these things and watching people who go on television and scream the most outrageous things because it's what gets headlines and tweets and clicks and all of this stuff. The average person's, again, not paying that kind of attention. To give you just a snippet, CNN, Fox, MSNBC, you added all up for the last month. It doesn't come anywhere close to what the halftime show was yesterday, to what the football game was. You put everybody together. That's the reality of it. A rerun of Gunsmoke is giving the afternoon Morning Joe a run for its money. That's the reality of it. But those people in the little bubbles, they feel like, hey, the whole world's paying attention to this, and what we're doing is super important. So to get attention, I got to say the most outlandish things. We got to be as extreme as possible. You better pick a side. When the average person walks in and goes, yeah, I don't really identify with you or you, I got stuff going on, right? I'll see you guys in 4 years, and I'll make my decision against it. Is anybody here normal? Does anybody here have any real? Nah, never mind. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Do love hearing from you. My pillow. I took a nap on Saturday. Naps are good. And it was so nice. I was like, I'm going to go hit golf balls. And I was like, I'm going to lay down for about an hour or so because I did a lot of traveling over the last couple of weeks. And I just, I like that Saturday nap. It was kind of cloudy and it was like perfect. I go in and it's that perfect day where it's a little cool and everything. And boom, I was out. And I thought, I'll get up at like 3:30. I woke up at like 6. I was like, what? Yeah, My Pillow. Boom. It was just me and My Pillow. You need it. It's a no-brainer right now. You got nothing to lose. Money back guarantee till March 1st. What are you waiting for? I was a skeptic. I thought this hype is baloney. You hear stuff all the time. You're trying to sell me a bill of goods. Give me what it is. I tried it, and I was like, okay, I'm not a skeptic anymore. You've made me a believer. It'll make you a believer, too. No-brainer right now. 10-year warranty, 100% machine washable and dryable, made in the U.S. of A. 4 pillows, 2 premium pillows, 2 go-anywhere pillows. I got my go-anywhere pillow right now. Half the price, free shipping. Money back guaranteed till March 1st. You're not going to find this deal anywhere else. Call 800-944-4975 or go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code Benson. That's MyPillow.com, promo code Benson, 800-944-4975 or MyPillow.com. Remember to use promo code Benson. You can get 4 pillows, 2 premium pillows, 2 go-anywhere pillows, half the price, free shipping. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
This is so weird. You got a movie coming out, and I don't know what it is where it's like, hey, I got a great idea. Now is when I'm going to tell this bizarre story that nobody ever knows really anything about, but I'm going to tell it because I think this is the perfect time for me to make everybody uncomfortable and to start trending a few days before my movie comes out. Case in point, Liam Neeson talking about a friend who was raped.
This is true. I'm not going to use any names, but I was away and I came back and she told me she had been raped, but she handled the situation of the rape in the most extraordinary way. But my immediate reaction was, I asked, did she know who it was? No. What colour were they? She said it was a black person. I went up and down areas with a cosh, hoping I'd be approached by somebody. I'm ashamed to say that. And I did it for maybe a week, hoping some black would come out of a pub and have a go at me about something, so that I could kill him.
I was like, okay, what was, like, hey, I got a great story for you. This should make you really uncomfortable. I don't get it. I don't get it. Now, I understand your friend, something happens, you want to avenge. I get that. But in this day and age, saying that, it's come across as a way, and people are already going after, it's time to boycott his movie that's coming out this week. And you had to think to yourself, either two things. Either you weren't woke enough to understand that could get you in trouble, or You really don't want anybody to see this movie. You're like, this is just Taken Part 9, except somebody's actually took to the point where they don't come back, so it's just a revenge movie. I don't know. Seems to be that's all he doesn't matter. You put him on an aircraft, this is what happens. You're in first class, somebody gets taken in the back. I'm not going to go back and save them. On a train, somebody gets taken in the back of the train. On a blimp, on a hot air balloon, somebody gets taken. You're like, oh my God. Now he's out in the cold. Crazy. You ask yourself, are you not, and even people are stunned that there was no reason. I was asking him crazy questions about that. He just brought it up.
Hawaii now flirting with the idea of becoming the first state to ban the sale of cigarettes. Lawmakers are proposing that cigarette sales would effectively end by 2024. The ban would go into effect progressively starting next year by raising the minimum wage for buying cigarettes from 21 to the age of 30. 2 years later, no one under 100 would be allowed to buy cigarettes.
What? 100? You know, it's going to be somebody who's 100 is always going to buy smokes just because they can. I've been waiting for a long time to do this. Now I'm of age. Smoking's bad. What do you do with the revenue, though? Think about this for a second. There's the road to hell, right? Like people make money and municipalities make money off the revenue of people doing stupid things. So how do you replace that? Charging people to surf. That's how they'll do it. 100 years old. I got no problem with that. I don't smoke, but still, people want to do stupid things to their bodies. Let them. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
On the day before the State of the Union address, President Trump's senior advisor, Kellyanne Conway, says the address to Congress will tackle accomplishments and some of their goals, like how to move forward on immigration.
What we need at the southern border, which of course the centerpiece of is a physical barrier wall, steel slats, but it's also the additional Border Patrol personnel, the immigration judges, tackling TPS and DACA.
White House aides say other top issues the president will talk about are trade, infrastructure, healthcare, and national security.
Yeah, and the battle's going to begin of who they're going to invite. Apparently, there's going to be people that are here, illegal immigrants, DACA recipients, TPS, protective status. Democrats are inviting some of them. Trump, I'm sure, is going to invite somebody had a family member killed. It's stupid that we're at this point where we're fighting over something like this when the reality is there needs to be comprehensive across the board reform. But there also needs to be a situation where you're going to declare a state of emergency and you look around and you ask again, what is the average human being worried about tonight? Is it illegal immigration? In a few states, it's top of mind. Republicans, it's super top of mind. But Democrats, independents, healthcare, right? It's jobs in the economy, which poll extremely well, again, for the Republicans. And this is a battle right now that's going on. The average person's looking, going, my health care is continuing to go up. Quality of care staying about the same. It's frustrating as hell. We're not moving the ball forward when it comes to that. I want to see the job world continue to motor forward. We've had a solid fourth quarter. I want to see it continue into this year. There's a lot of things. But this has become a situation where it's a battle about the wall. The barrier. As Trump calls it, peaches. It's frustrating for a lot of people. It's frustrating for me. I think we need comprehensive reform. 2 out of the 3 people that are here right now over the last 7, 8, 9 years that have come here illegally come here on a visa and decide, I like it here. I'm not going home. And some of them come here and they think, I'm going to be here for 6 months and I'm never going to leave. And they get caught up and they stay. And some of them are thinking the entire time, I'm going to use this as a reason to get there, and then I'm not going to leave because I know how porous the visa program is and them catching me. Unless, of course, you're a 21-year-old rapper from England. Then they can catch you big time. A Grammy-nominated rapper, too, was arrested. It needs a full overhaul. And with a full overhaul, you're looking at a situation where you go, okay, barrier in some places, because that is going to slow things down. It's not going to stop everything, but it's going to slow things down. Better technology, particularly at ports of entry when it comes to having bomb-sniffing dogs, drug-sniffing dogs, just better technology across the board in the way they scan things. Boom, big time, awesome. Right? Great. We need that. Same thing for the actual ports themselves, right? On all of those cargo ships that come in, how many of them do you actually think get checked? Very few. And then the visa program. And then when all of that is done, and a lot of that is just putting more money and resources in that in a smarter way, then comes the other part that is vitally important in this situation. You ready for this? You guys get a little closer to the radio. Enforcing the laws. What? Yeah, enforcing the laws. It doesn't work when you have states and cities that are going to ignore the federal law and actually at times work, it seems, against the feds. It doesn't work when catch and release, which I am all for giving people the opportunity to come here. I think our program itself is completely flawed in the visa program. We need more temporary workers, things that I want to make it easier. But I have to say this. When you get caught and then they say, well, you got caught, and then they turn you loose, what is that about? I've always thought that's just insane. But that's what happens. And there's got to be a better way that we do things. But that's going to be tomorrow night. He'll tout a lot of the stuff that he touts, and he'll do what Trump does. But make no doubt about it. This is Wall and Trump against Nancy and the Democrats. And there's a lot of other things that people are interested in that I think are glossed over because of this fight that's going on between the two. And in the end, even if you do comprehensive reform and you add barriers for certain places and you add better technology in certain places, especially very remote areas, and you add better stuff at the ports of entry and you have a better visa watch program, if you don't enforce all of these things, then it means absolutely nothing.
Northram admitted he had appeared in blackface once before during a dance contest in 1984 where he dressed as Michael Jackson.
I had the shoes, I had a glove, and I used just a little bit of shoe polish to put on my cheeks. And the reason I used a very little bit is because I don't know if anybody's ever tried that, but you cannot get shoe polish off.
Nearly every politician in Virginia has called on Northram to resign. So have virtually all the Democrats running for president.
Yeah, so this is the governor. If you didn't see it, on Friday mid-afternoon, a picture comes out. Now, this is Northram, who last week was on radio talking about late-term abortion and his nonchalant attitude of, well, the baby will be born, and then the family and the doctors will decide if they want to resuscitate it, and you know, he goes into this, and it sounded awful because it was awful. Then he said later on, in fairness, I didn't read the bill; it was out there, and there, you know, and he didn't walk it back to the point where he goes, no, I'm totally against that, but he tried to walk some of it back, and then on Friday, Big League Politics releases a picture of him in his medical yearbook, of him in blackface or in a hood. Not quite sure which is which. He's saying first, I'm sorry about that. And he's like, it wasn't me. But the reality is people are saying you have to step down. He is like, nope, not going to do it. I'm begging. I got to give me a chance to fix this. This is a long time ago. This is the way I feel about it. People are going to ask him. And I'm not one of these people that are going to be out there just because I'm not ridiculous, right? So easy to be ridiculous in this business, to say stuff that's just absurd. because 90% of people are going to call you on it. And the 10% isn't your audience, is the way that people look at it. I don't know if he's a racist. I think 34 years ago, people did a lot of stupid things, myself included. I think it was like 13. I'm sure I said or did something stupid in that year of my life that would disqualify me from anything, as pretty much every human being has. Absolutely. Right? Can any of you say you have not sinned in the social justice world of today compared to what you may have said or done umpteen years ago? Probably not. Because if you haven't, then throw that stone. And then people are like, well, Republicans would be called. Yes, they would be. And I think this is a test case, because if you can survive this, other people in the future can be like, well, if I made one mistake, I shouldn't have to be punished forever. Was it a mistake? Yeah, based on today, it was absolutely an asinine, stupid thing. Do I think he is a racist? This is my take. Quite simply, if I haven't seen a lot of people of color, or any of them for that matter, coming forward and saying, this guy single-handedly kept people of color down, destroyed people of color. Right? And I'm no big fan of this guy, but I've not seen that. He's a buffoon based on his answer about the moonwalk that somebody asked him in this dance that he did in San Antonio when he tried to put the shoe polish on. Hey, you were doing Michael Jackson. How'd you? Well, I didn't win the contest. I did a moonwalk. Can you still moonwalk? Well, probably. Looks down like he's going to do it. And his wife's like, yeah, that's not appropriate. You're an idiot. That alone should disqualify you. But do I think this guy is a card-carrying member of the Ku Klux Klan? I don't think so. Do I think he's a bit of a boob? Yeah, I could say that. I think we can all agree with that. Right? But I look at this situation, and again, we're taking our sensibility in today's woke world, in the social justice world, and we're looking back 35 years, and we're judging one person as we judge everybody now on a single situation. If there's a lot that comes out that says he's racist and horrible and da-da, then you know what? Then, yeah, he's got to go. But I'm an action person. Right? I don't see Jimmy Kimmel gone. Ted Danson showed up with Whoopi Goldberg in blackface one time, if I'm correct. I still see him acting. And I'm not a huge fan of this guy. But at some point in time, can we just step back and say, all right, you know what? Subsequent 35 years, you seem to have kind of worked on a lot of stuff that's been pretty good. So do we throw it all away? And I'm not just talking about him. I'm talking about so many other people and people that are to come in situations like this. I think that's a real question to ask.
Tom Brady, about to be a six-time champion, takes the snap, drops to the knee, and the Patriots have won their sixth Super Bowl title. In the early 2000s, they won 3 of 4. Now they have won 3 of the last 5. And yes, it's still a dynasty.
Yes, it is. Still a dynasty. And I was talking to a few NFL folk that are in and around the office here on a daily basis. And just a reminder, they have 12 draft picks next year. 12 draft picks. Everything's still kind of the same. I think Gronk is going to retire. I think he's just kind of said his body's beat the hell. Game wasn't beautiful for a lot of reasons. And the fact is the defense has played great yesterday. But he's got six Super Bowls. He's been in 9. He's got 6. He wants to play a few more years. Is it conceivable he gets another 1 or 2? Sure, it's conceivable. It was a heck of a... I mean, if you look at this career, I mean, even yesterday, it was a hell of a drive. When Tom Brady had to be Tom Brady, he was Tom Brady in that drive in the fourth quarter. Defense did the rest. Wasn't beautiful. Wasn't epic and this just back and forth seesaw game. It was a game of defense. It was like watching chess. If you understand the intricacies of it, you thought it's pretty good. It's very interesting. But defense wins championships. Even bad defenses for good teams at some point in time are going to have to stop somebody. Yesterday, both defenses stood up and they stopped each other. But Tom got it done when he needed to. That's 6. That is a lot of rings, kids. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Man sues parents. Wait till you hear this story. And it's so funny. It is so funny. Just the insanity of people. And luckily, it's not here in America, right? This one comes from across the seas. We'll talk about that. And a birthday, a big shout-out birthday to a company today that turns a whopping 15. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
They called it the Facebook when Mark Zuckerberg and 4 other Harvard students launched it in a dorm room in 2004.
Facebook is an idealistic and optimistic company.
And that is how he described it last year when Zuckerberg was testifying to Congress about the social network that's become much more than a place where friends voluntarily share things.
It's clear now that we didn't do enough to prevent these tools from being used for harm as well.
But despite concerns about election interference, fake news, and privacy, a study by Pew says today more than 2/3 of American adults use Facebook.
Absolutely. And apparently about $100 a month is what people say would be right around what they would charge if they were to get off Facebook. But they don't want you to, especially here in America. So just to give you an example of, and think about this for a quick second. Just for a second. Imagine starting a company today, right? Within a few years, it's worth hundreds of millions. Within less than 5, it's worth billions. And it's heading towards trillions within 15 years. Think about how that would change your life. But remember, you, me, everybody who uses it, you were always the product, right? You were the product. Facebook wasn't the product. You were the product. U.S. Facebook user is 3 times more valuable than a Facebook user in Europe, 10 times more valuable than a Facebook user in Asian Pacific regions, and 15 times more valuable than anywhere else on the globe. Because we're a consumer-based nation, and we consume, so those ads are vitally important to Facebook. How important? $200 billion per. That's the estimate from Zenith, a global media agency. That is nuts. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Speaking of crazy, this guy's spectacular. We'll probably talk a little bit more about him later. His name is Raphael Samuel. He is part of this growing anti-natalism, which is a philosophy of essentially that assigns a negative to value in birth. And he's suing his family because he was born. That's right. Because he was born. A good parent puts the child above their wants and needs. But a child itself's wants and needs are what? In this world, probably not to be born. Right? That's the whole thing. He's pushing this non-birth thing. Child-free India, child-free world because of what we do and the stress that comes to the child. And essentially having a child is selfish. Right? Do you think the existence is pain and not bringing a child in this world is guaranteed a way to avoid unnecessary suffering to the child? Having to go to school, having to find a career, having to pay for stuff, that's not very good. And then on top of that, overcrowding, overpopulation, the carbon footprint, all of this stuff. He goes, he had a great relationship with his parents. But he said essentially that having children is kidnapping and slavery. And he's suing them. And for once, we could say this is why they can't have nice things. Because normally this is something we'd say. But they're trying to grow this into a movement. And you know what? Some kooks are going to get behind this. They're going to go, ooh, it's a great idea. Woohoo! Reduce the global footprint. This is craziness. We've already got a sharp decline in global births, and that's going to continue to happen, especially in the Western world. So think about that. It's still the best time in the history of the world to be a child and to be a human being. Crazy. This is why they can't have nice things. Not us this time. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Would you shut down the government again?
Well, we're going to have to see what happens on February 15th. And
you're not taking it off the table?
Well, I don't take anything off the table. I don't like to take things off the table. It's that alternative. It's national emergency. It's other things. And, there have been plenty national emergencies called.
Yeah, I think there's actually like 32 national emergencies that have been declared that are still somewhat active. So it's not like, oh, my God. But, looking at the latest poll, people are like, this just isn't, this isn't that national emergency. For Republicans, immigration is number one. But for independents, for Democrats, it's health care. And health care is like number three for Republicans, the cost of health care. So, and I believe we'd be fools to think he's not going to do it, right? I mean, he's kind of hinting that that's it. He wants that damn wall.
We're going to have a strong border. And the only way you have a strong border is you need a physical barrier. You need a wall. And anybody that says you don't, they're just playing games.
Look, does it help? Yes. I've said it helps. People say, you say it doesn't. No, I said it helps, but I said it in the overall scheme of things, when you look at what's happening now, 2/3 of people that are in this country illegally right now over the last, 7-8 years have come here via the visa program, that have stayed here. So that is a ton. That is massive. If you don't enforce everything, you could build as many walls as high as you want. People will figure out a way still to have the opportunity to come here. But the facts are that until we do everything, it's kind of a waste, right? It is. Is the wall a vanity project? Yeah, I think a bit of it is. But isn't any politics, anything getting done, somewhat of a vanity project? Yeah. But if you don't fix the visa system, if you don't fix and really prioritize the port system as far as bringing it up to date with technology, making technology more readily available to the men and women who are there at our ports of entry, that includes not just people driving here, but also people that are working in the actual ports themselves. It's tough, man. You got to do everything. And then when all of that is done, being said and done, you've got to then enforce the actual laws themselves. And that is vitally important, because a lot of times, depending on the states, we got a lot of hit and miss. There's the resistance movement. All of this stuff's going on. So I look around, I said, there's just so much that's got to be done in unison, and everybody's got to be pulling in the same direction. We got to be rowing in the same direction. Or if one side's rowing one way and another side's rowing another, then nothing is going to get done. And that is the issue right here. Absolutely. Is a huge issue. But do I think for a moment that this is, that somehow if we build a wall that magically it's going to be fixed? Nope. I think we need to do it all. It needs to be sorted out in a way that is real, that is comprehensive, that includes the fact that some of that place that wall might go, do we really need a wall there? It's so barren. There's nobody even out patrolling it. Even if we had technology on top of the wall, the chances of us getting to that position to stop some of that stuff may be slim to none. And the chances of people actually getting out to those places to try it may be very slim to none. But there are other places that we can put a barrier, a wall that may be helpful along with technology that may absolutely work. But then if you catch somebody and you decide that we're just going to turn you loose in our country, that's the issue for a lot of people I talk to that frustrates the hell out of all of us. But we'll see. We'll see what comes of it. I just have a feeling that there is going to be a situation here in the next 24 to 48 hours where a state of emergency is declared.
I think there's a rightful hesitation about removal from office
because obviously you have to consider that to some degree you're overturning an election.
Yeah, that's Kurt Cox, who's a Republican, talking about Governor Northram and whether or not he should be gone. Apparently, he's refusing to step down. His Lieutenant Governor of Fairfax was just talking a little while ago, who was also, there's some stuff around him and sexual assault that's just, it's just, it is not pretty. And what Governor Northram did back in the day was stupid, was idiotic, was foolish. We can all agree on that. Absolutely. I want to, in this day and age, and I think it's one of those things where I've seen it too often, as has many of you out there, where somebody says something, whether it's a Kevin Hart or whether whoever it is, they've said something, they've done something. And in many cases, it's years and years and years gone by. And now it crops up. Why? What happened? Why is it now? This person needs to go. He has to be gone. We got to get rid of this person. And sometimes you're just thinking to yourself, but did the actions of the subsequent X amount of years reflect what that person said or the picture, whatever? And I'm just sick and tired of watching. I don't know if he's a good person. I don't know what's in his heart. He could be just the nicest guy who's got real belief that, you know what, he made a mistake and because he's tone deaf when it comes to the reality of stuff. In saying that, we live in a very quick snap judgment, want to destroy everybody as fast as possible, virtue signaling society, and people want him gone. It's got to go. Absolutely must go. Absolutely must go. So is he going to? Based on this, I don't know. At least for now, he looks like he's going to stand pat and not resign. And he spoke earlier today with several leaders in the African-American community about this. And I don't know what they said. And I'm sure over the next umpteen hours, we're going to find it out. But at least at this moment, Northram, the picture, he's going to stand pat and he's not going anywhere.
According to Twitterverse, Game of Thrones and Bud Light's joint spot drew the most tweets per minute for Super Bowl ads. Marvel Studios' upcoming Avengers trailer sparked the most retweets. Ad expert Donnie Deutsch says girl power was front and center.
We've always seen women in ads, but it was how they were portrayed. You know, right now we've got 3 women running for president. We have more women graduating college than men, so advertisers have kind of figured out we better show women in the powerful light that they're in.
Technology also a big hit. Amazon Spot, Alexa digital assistant ideas, rejected by celebrities, got some laughs, but Minted Mobile's chunky milk spot hit a sour note.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed. $5 million is a lot of money to put out there. And the Bud Light stuff I thought was okay. I just wasn't impressed. I think of all the stuff I saw yesterday, the 100th anniversary of the NFL was the most entertaining promo commercial thing. But outside of that, I just felt like it was a kind of just a dud. There was nothing where I was like, man, that was hilarious. The Andy Warhol thing was a bizarre thing. If you didn't see it, it's a commercial from, I think it was like 1982, 83, a few years before he died. And it was like a Danish guy who filmed it. It was supposed to be, I think the movie's called 66 Minutes of American Life or something like that. And Andy Warhol apparently wanted like McDonald's, but they got him Burger King and I think he had Heinz ketchup, and it was just a bizarre commercial.
That's real. That's not CGI. That's Warhol. I mean, to me, I actually used Warhol in an ad for Pontiac in the 80s, and he's iconic. You might say, well, now they're trying to show the democratization of burgers, just like he did the democratization of vodka.
Yeah, Donnie Deutsch there, who drives me crazy a lot of times when he talks about politics. When it comes to ads, there's not a lot of guys who know as much as him. But it's real. It was very interesting. Because I was sitting there going, oh, my God, that's really Andy Warhol. And everyone's like, no. I'm saying, no, that's really Andy Warhol. I mean, first of all, you could tell by just the way it was filmed, kind of the graininess that feels very 80s. But, yeah, there was a lot of misses yesterday for me. A lot of misses when it came to that. Just felt like it, just like swing and miss on more than a few occasions. Some of the stuff, though, and this is one of the things, too, and I think Donnie Deutsch talks about this, and I remember used to watch, a lot of people just watch it for the ads themselves.
All you have to do is look at your 16-year-old and the way they're consuming. They're not staring at the TV. So any TV commercials become a smaller and smaller part of what's going on in the world.
Yeah, because they're online. And here's the other thing. 10, 15 years ago, you saw the commercials. Maybe you'd see 10 seconds of a snippet of a commercial and you go, oh, or you would hear about like this is what's going to, and you're like, this is going to be great. So-and-so's doing a live commercial. This way. And then you'd see it on the game and people, by now, by Friday, most of the commercials had been seen. Most of the commercials had been seen by just about everybody. They had been released and leaked online on more than a few occasions. And you're just like, I think it was a miss. I think a lot of it was. And then, of course, just again, the game was not a beauty to watch. It wasn't. It was ugly at times. It was defensive. But in the end, it's a Super Bowl. Watch the game. Everybody, we're so used to these massive high, because the game now is so geared for offense. So everybody's tuning in going, all right, we got the Rams. You got Kid Genius there, right? And Sean McVay, the 32-year-old quarterback or whatever he is. Let's just put it into terms to understand. He's the Kid Genius. And everybody's like, he even said he's totally outcoached. Bill Belichick has been in the NFL for 43 years. 43 years. He was in the NFL for 10 years before Sean McVay was ever born. And I'm sure they had some nice conversations last night and probably today. And it was just a defensive matchup. Defense wins championship. We always talk about it, but defense does win championship. And last night it was a great night, and they had their number. And number 6 is the number that anybody needs to know about. That's what Tom Brady has on his rings, on his fingers. Huge. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. The last 2 weeks I've drove 1,900 miles. I drive a long way. I don't worry about my car. Take care of it absolutely the best I possibly can. But I've got Car Shield. And let me tell you something. The horror stories of taking your car in, I've talked about my friend before who just got through working with Car Shield, and $1,900 was her damage for what it was cost to get the car fixed. She paid a small deductible. That didn't even count the fact that she got 5 days of rental car while the car and the parts, everything were brought in and fixed. It's crazy, right? I know if something happens to my car, I know exactly where I'm taking it. I've got 24/7 roadside assistance, so Car Shield's going to make sure it gets there, and then they're going to get them paid directly. I pay a small deductible, and away I go. It is nice to know you have peace of mind when it comes to the what ifs when it comes to your car. Your car may be a little bit longer in the tooth. You don't have a manufacturer warranty, but you're thinking to yourself, I'd like to keep my cars just in case. This is where Car Shield comes in. What are you waiting for? 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. You choose that shop. They get them paid directly. That's what Car Shield does for you. Absolutely. So what are you going to do? You're going to save yourself, thousands in car repairs. Get covered with the ultimate extended vehicle protection. Do what I did. Call Car Shield, 800-CAR-6100. When you do, mention code Benson, or you can go online, check out all of the things they offer at carshield.com. When you do, use code Benson, saves you 10% right there. That's carshield.com, code Benson, or call 800-CAR-6100. Save yourself 10% by mentioning code Benson. A deductible may apply. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say what?
There could be jurors who are scared. They're kept anonymous for their safety, and they may feel like internally they don't want to be responsible for convicting someone that they've just heard for the last 3 months is so brutal. The reality of it is the jury form is quite complicated. There are 10 separate counts. Each of those counts has underlying crimes that the jury must decide whether the prosecution proved or did not prove. And so just going through the facts of the case and deliberating together could take some time.
Yeah, you think? So they're talking about El Chapo there, and the jury's got everything. They've got to go through everything, but I wouldn't want to be on that jury. There's no way I would want to be up on that jury. Because first of all, think about all that you've heard. You're like, say, what? You're looking over at this guy, and you're seeing the human side of him. Wife, he had kids, and you're seeing the awful side of him. That he's a murderer, that he may be responsible for more deaths as far as a drug dealer and cartel member in the history of this. Not Pablo, but him.
After a trial that has spanned several months, it's going to be up to the 7 women and 5 men in Brooklyn federal court to decide the fate of the world's most notorious drug lord. There is no bigger criminal in modern times, DEA agents have told me, than Joaquin Guzman, just based on the sheer number of deaths they attribute to the drugs that he's said to have flooded the country with.
Yeah, like Pablo Escobar, the things that he did, the fear that he instilled and the battle he had with the Colombian government was legendary. He's the gold star. But this guy, for the amount of drugs that killed, he makes Pablo look like like he's just like an amateur. So, but I wouldn't want to be anywhere near this. I'd say, no. Do I think he's going to get acquitted? Nah, I don't think so. Right? I don't think he's going to get acquitted. But the reality is would it be the craziest thing? I would have to say, to me, if he was acquitted, I don't care what you say about Trump being president. I don't care what you say about 90% of this stuff. Him being acquitted would be the craziest thing. And you'd be like, somebody had to be bought. Somebody had to be. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Amazon counterfeit goods.
Amazon identifies this potential problem in the section of its annual report called Risk Factors, saying the company may be unable to prevent third-party sellers from selling stuff that's unlawful, counterfeit, pirated, or stolen. A growing number of sales on Amazon come from these third parties, often identified as stores, and not directly from Amazon itself. But Amazon's guarantee means buyers in most cases will be reimbursed, even if the bad sale is the third party's fault, something Amazon says could affect its bottom line and reputation as third-party sales grow.
Yeah. This is, the fight that Trump has with China and a lot of other places, but in particular China, is when it comes to trade, isn't just us being able to go over there and the way they put tariffs on it's also the intellectual stuff. And I've talked about it before. While people are like, we don't need this, and we're a consumer-based nation, the reality is it's not just us. Other nations are cheering us on because they see their stuff being pirated. And doing business in China, just know if you were to do business, you're going to hand over all of your stuff. They're going to look through it. They're going to keep a lot of it. They're going to hand it off to their groups over there they're going to copy it. And then they're going to try to do all they can to come out with a counterfeit way of making your product cheaper, quicker, not better, but cheaper and quicker. And that's frustrating to a lot of people. But you want to do business there, that's what people do. And if you even don't do business there, they're still trying to figure out a way how to take your stuff and counterfeit it and get it out to the masses. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from all of you. Northram still governor. How much longer can he hold on? The over-under? Can he make it to Friday? Ooh, that's a good one. I don't know. Can he make it to Friday? If nothing else breaks, it's a possibility. Tomorrow he doesn't have to worry. State of the Union will probably suck up all the oxygen in that controversial room. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The protesters marching to the Virginia governor mansion demanding he step down. No indication Governor Northram will do that after a weekend news conference where he insisted it was not him in the blackface and Klansman photo, and he didn't know how it got on his yearbook page. Unclear how Northram can run Virginia effectively with virtually his entire party telling him to resign.
Yeah, that's going to be very tough. I mean, even if let's just step back for a second and say, look, 35 years ago, his actions in the subsequent 35 years show that he's not racist. It was stupid. It was immature. It was idiotic. We all of those things. Because, I mean, at this day and age, again, we take our sensibilities of today, being woke, being socially aware of everything. We go back 35 years. All of us probably have a few things that we wish we could take back based on today. In saying that, how does he govern, right? Who's Lieutenant Governor Fairfax is ready to take over. He's preparing as if, but there's no indication that he is going to step down, at least not right now. So remember, this last week was a horrible week. And it's funny in a weird way that the whole infanticide thing with the way he talked about abortion and, the mother will have the child. They'll decide if they want to resuscitate the child, and the father or the mother and doctors and everybody will talk about what they want to do. And the full-born baby will just lay there, and then they'll go from there. That was kind of like, it's no big deal. Although subsequently he came out and said, you know what, I didn't read the bill that Tran had put forward. That's one of the people that work, they state senators, whatever they call, I think, delegates there. But that was hers, and we talked a bit about that last week. Late term abortion, third trimester, essentially up into the point of the child being born. It was like, well, there's no time limit on it. And that was kind of like, that guy looked over. But the blackface thing, well, he's got to go. Right. So he comes out and he does the usual. First, you fire off a tweet or something like that. Then you do your scripted sit down in your office and look into the camera. And
earlier today, I released a statement apologizing for behavior in my past that falls far short of the standard you set for me when you elected me to be your governor. I believe you deserve to hear directly from me. That photo and the racist and offensive attitudes it represents does not reflect that person I am today or the way that I have conducted myself as a soldier, a doctor, and a public servant. I am deeply sorry.
So he says that, and then he comes out and he does part two where he takes questions, which was just one of the questions, and the way he responded alone was probably enough for him to say, yeah, you should resign. But before he does any of that, so he does that mea culpa right there, and then he says,
when I was confronted with the images yesterday, I was appalled that they appeared on my page, but I believe then and now that I am not either of the people in that photo.
Which makes it seem worse. But during the press conference, he did talk about the time that he does remember when he did do some blackface.
That same year, I did participate in a dance contest in San Antonio, in which I darkened my face as part of a Michael Jackson costume. I look back now and regret that I did not understand the harmful legacy of an action like that.
Yeah. There you go. And again, 35 years, our sensibilities today. I will tell you, based on the way that the world's going, in 50 years, people look back and go, wow, we shouldn't have yelled at cisgendered people. It's possible. Be careful what you say today. Even though it's non-offensive, it might get your ass in trouble in the future. Just be careful, right? Just stay as just say kind of generalities of stuff. This being with two arms and two legs, and just what he did was stupid, it was asinine. I think we can all agree on that. It was. Does it rise in this day and age to so offensive you have to go? Yes. I look at actions and I say, are there a ton of people coming out from the black community saying how racist he is? He's been nothing but evil and racist. I haven't heard any of those things. I haven't. I've not heard any of those things said about him. Not at all. But the fact is if he can't govern, meaning if nobody is going to take him serious, if they're going to do everything they can to make his life a living hell, then that's where the biggest issue is going to come from him on whether or not he stays. Because we have a nano-like attitude in the way that we deal with things. If it doesn't happen immediately, we will find our next outrage. And boom, we're on to something else. But if he can't work within his own party as well as the Republicans in that state, then he's done for. Then he's absolutely done for, which a lot of people say, look, there's an issue about that when you do this because people voted him in.
I think there's a rightful hesitation about removal from office because obviously you have to consider that to some degree you're overturning an election. And
that's the worry for some, and that's a Republican right there. That's a Republican. But I think, and the people out there who are conservative, who are screaming, we just want him to face the same things that a Republican would face and blah, 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 blah. You also find that stupid when this stuff happens. So it's this argument of, well, they did it to ours, so we should do it to theirs. And I'm just like, I look and I say, I look at actions. I have known people in my life who scream to be Democrats, who scream to be progressive, and when you're with them, they're anything but that until a camera comes on or until there's other people around. But in those quiet moments when you're hanging out, and their actions outside of that as well, or all too often, I don't know anything about this guy on a personal level, but I think he's done. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Last night, little football.
Tom Brady, about to be a six-time champion, takes the snap, drops to the knee, and the Patriots have won their sixth Super Bowl title. In the early 2000s, they won 3 of 4. Now they have won 3 of the last 5. And yes, it's still a dynasty.
Yeah, it's still a dynasty. I don't know if it's going anywhere anytime soon. Tom said not going to quit, not going to do it, and a victory or loss wasn't going to change his mind. Last night, it felt like there was a smidge of an opening, but I don't think Tom would leave the Patriots without a backup plan. I just don't think he'd do that. And, it looks like you could be sitting in a situation where next year, always depending on injuries and everything like that, that you could be seeing a team that is sitting in a situation where, maybe, just maybe, they could be here again. But it was a boring game for a lot of people last night. I found the game to be offensively. People say, oh, offenses were horrible. Well, how about the defenses being really good in the way that they played against each other? But we're so used to seeing the scoreboard light up like, a pinball machine that it takes away from the fact. But we talk about it whenever we joke about sports is defense win championships. Even if you have a bad defense, at some point in time, your defense is going to have to win you something to stop somebody from getting somewhere. And last night, both defenses spent 2 weeks trying to defeat each other and preparing for it. And they did that, except for the part where Tom became Tom Terrific, drove him down. Sony Michel scores a touchdown. They get an interception late. They ice the game, just the way it went.
White House officials say the president's speech will focus on presenting a, quote, inspiring vision of American greatness and a call for bipartisanship in a divided Congress. The senior administration official refused to get into the process behind the building of the speech, the guests, or any specific material beyond the top 5 topics: immigration, trade, infrastructure, national security, and healthcare.
According to a new poll, healthcare is huge for independents, for the old, for the young, for millennials, for Democrats. Immigration is number 1 for Republicans. And a lot of that is the wall. I think we can all figure out that either before or during, he's going to make an announcement of declaring an emergency. And then they'll go from there. What happens from there is lawsuits and fights. That's what's going to happen. And you hear this, oh, we're getting close, or there's some optimism that we can get something done, and a barrier here and a barrier there, and I think for him, I think he feels like I gave it a chance. Nobody wants what I had to offer, even when I was trying to do the right thing. Again, according to him, I'm trying to do the right thing, and nobody wants any of that. Right? They just want to make it politics. That's what Nancy wants to do. She wants to make everything politics.
better job. And I think Nancy Pelosi is doing a terrible disservice to the people of our country. But
you're still going to have to deal with her,
No,
though.
she can keep playing her games, but we will win because we have a much better issue. On a political basis, what she's doing is, I actually think it's bad politics, but much more importantly, it's very bad for our country.
Yeah. Both sides, I think, have screwed up, and I think he feels like, it's no big deal. I'm just going to do this again. I'm either going to shut the government down again, or I'll just go about my merry way, and then they can go and pass the CR, and they can move on with their lives, and I'll just do this, and then we'll let the fight happen. We'll take it to the Supreme Court. Because that's where everything goes now. It's the Supreme Court. So you got to the 15th. Do I think anything's going to get done? I don't. I think he wanted to give it one more shot. And I think this 2-week thing that they've done here was all for Lindsey Graham in a lot of ways. Because I think he really pushed this behind the scenes from what I heard. And this was to show you, look, this is what we want. And they weren't going to do it. And I don't think they're moving the ball. Even if they do move the ball, as they say, enough for the average person, I think for Trump, he wants something done. So he's going to go about doing it. And we'll go from there. Let the fight begin. But if I'm him tomorrow, I'm talking about health care. If I'm him tomorrow, I'm touting the economy and talking about that. If I'm him, I'm making immigration third or fourth. He's going to lead with that because that's what his base wants. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. And there's your Twitter, kids. You can tweet at us. Do love hearing from you. A lot of stuff to get to, including Facebook. It's got a birthday. And wait till you hear what your worth to Facebook is and mine. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. 1-800-Flowers.com. They got you covered. Right, we're getting close to Valentine's Day. It's next Friday for those of you not keeping score, but you need to figure something out. Don't be that person that wanders into a convenience store or somebody on the side of the road and you're just getting what you can get and it's a mess and she knows it. Nope. It's a no-brainer when you go to 1-800-Flowers.com. They got you covered. Order early. 18-stem Enchanted Rose Medley, $29.99, or double it, 36 stems for an extra $20. Boom. 18-stem Enchanted Rose Medley, $29.99, or double those roses for $20 more. You're going to be a winner. They are picked and then shipped overnight. She's going to go, what? This is great. You're amazing. Oh, my God, how could you? And you're going to be like, I'm a winner. It didn't cost me that much, and I come across so amazing, and I don't have to sleep on the couch. What? That's what it's about. They are the people I trust. They're my Rose Authority. Don't be that person. Do it smart. Get over to 1-800-Flowers.com right now. Order your 18-stem Enchanted Rose Medley for $29.99. And better yet, double that for an extra $20 more at 1-800-Flowers.com. Click on the radio icon. Enter code Benson. Order today. Save at 1-800-Flowers.com. Code Benson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Feel free to punk this punk rocker anytime of the day or night. Reach Chad on Twitter at Chad Benson Show and on Instagram at Chad Benson Show. And oh yeah, the Chad Benson Show on Facebook too. Punk that.
Maroon 5. Oh, my Lord. So I watched it last night. I think they were awful. Here's the thing. We live in a world where everybody has instantaneous opportunities to be haters, right? And that's what we do. We love to just go out, and the first opportunity we have a chance is to make fun of something. Sometimes it's just because we want to be funny, but a lot of times we're just so full of just we have to down everything. Right? It's like I was talking to Jack last night because he's like, Dad, why does everybody hate Tom Brady? And I'm like, well, that's a lot of times when you're successful in life, you're going to get a lot of detractors. They're going to tell everybody that the only reason you're successful is you're lucky, or the only reason you're successful is because it's been handed to you, and that's the world we live in now, right? People hate LeBron James. I tell you this right now. if Michael Jordan, right? It's always the LeBron James and like Michael Jordan argument, but if Michael Jordan was playing in today's age with social media, he'd be getting as much flack, right? And I told my son, I said, Jack, the fact is in life, when you're successful, you're going to have detractors. You're absolutely going to have detractors. Last night, did I think that Adam Levine and them did a horrible job? No. I mean, no. Who wants that job? Right? There's a lot of these jobs now in Hollywood, like hosting this, where people don't want these things because the last thing they want to do is to be hammered about how horrible they are. I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want to host the Oscars nowadays. Right? Why? So you could tell me how awful I am? That's the best that you can do is people don't say anything about you. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. I will tell you this, though. If I'm Adam Levine, I wouldn't have worn a shirt either. Right? I wouldn't have worn a shirt. So the big money was on who was going to have their shirt off first. Travis Scott came out with a mesh shirt but never took it off. Adam Levine went through a repertoire of Maroon 5 songs, but he finally managed to get his shirt off. And then everybody said, wow, his body looks like a Chipotle with all the tattoos, like a Chipotle rapper. I wouldn't have worn a shirt. Ever. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
It's too bad that you have to be 35 to be president. You know, that we put that in the Constitution, the Founding Fathers, because people died at 38 or 40 back then. You know, we need to lower that.
All right. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is that where you're going with this?
Could be running. She just has to be 30 by the time January of 2021.
Really? So that's Michael Moore there, who is talking about AOC, who she is, what she's about. I'll say one thing. She's got passion. She's got belief in a lot of what she spouts off about, like all these politicians. I think somewhere along the line, they start out with this passion and belief, and then they get to D.C. or the state capitol, wherever they are, and it sort of gets twisted and it gets bought off, and it kind of just becomes you just say the things you say. But she's got belief in this, and he talks about her in the mass movement.
Look, everybody can out-progressive each other on their platforms. You're saying that she's got fire in the belly to get
She is the
going?
Leader. She is the leader.
Fire
Everybody
in the
knows
belly!
it. Everybody feels it. She's the leader of this mass movement that is not, I'm not talking about a movement in terms of an organization. I'm talking about a Fox News poll this week where it said 70% of the American public agree with her on having the top marginal rate for the rich, their taxes, 70% rate on the rich. That's a Fox News poll.
Right.
Yeah, I talk to a lot of people who think, oh, God, that'd be great. I'm like, okay, so what do we do? Why don't we just take all their wealth? And some people are like, hey, that's not a bad idea. And I'm like, and then what happens is they decide they're going to move. And then they decide they're going to close down places here. And then nobody works. And then everybody, it all sounds great until. Right? It all sounds great until. It's like, hey, most people believe that health care is a right and should be free, and 70% want a single-payer system. I said, that sounds great. Then 70% find out how the system would be implemented and how much it's going to cost them, and then they step back and say, well, hold on a second. Maybe that's not what I want. But this is something I found very interesting in the usual Michael Moore ramblings here.
Having her as the image of what Democrats are. Is there a danger if someone that progressive runs that it does turn off moderates, or do you think that's not a danger worth worrying about?
No. First of all, if you're moderate, stop being moderate. Take a position, all right? There's no middle ground anymore.
That's where he's wrong, and I'll tell you why. In the world of politics, there isn't middle ground. In the world of politics, 90% of the country doesn't live in the world of politics. And of that, 80% of the country looks at it glancingly and gets on with their lives. Maybe votes every 2 years, probably votes every 4 years. But outside of that, if you look at our numbers and participation when it comes to voting, so the average person is moderate because they just don't pay attention. They're too busy with their kids, their family, their career, their school. They're starting a new business. They're trying to make ends meet. They're building their business, right? Their hobbies. That's what they're paying attention to. That is what they're paying attention to. It's not this. Yeah. So in the world of politics, he's right. There is no middle ground. But when you talk to people who kind of on the periphery follow politics, but when you bring them the extremes, they want no part of that.
There's no halfway point to should somebody be paid a living wage. Well, I'm a moderate, so I think they could be paid half of a living wage. On the issue of choice, there's no halfway there. Do you believe in equal rights for women? Do you believe that we should have an equal rights amendment? Yes or no? There's no middle ground. This is no time for moderation.
No, but you want it's black or white. Look at the polls when it comes to choice. America believes in choice to a certain extent. Then when you start talking second trimester, all of a sudden that no longer is 55% believe in choice. It's 60% are like, nah. And when you get the third trimester, it's almost 90% of people are like, no. There's gray areas in these situations, right? Should people be paid a living wage? What's a living wage? What choices have you made in your life to put yourself in situations? There's all kinds of questions that can be answered. Well, we should have equality. Equality is fantastic. How do we go about doing that? Everybody makes the exact same, no matter how much work, experience, education, whatever you want to put into it. Everybody makes the exact same, no matter what you bring to it, right? Everybody makes the exact same. Well, no, there are questions that need to be. It all sounds great, again, until you start to implement these things. And then people stand back and go, well, maybe I don't, right? When you hear her talk, it's easy why. First of all, she is, and this is me, I think she's going to burn herself out, right? I do. I think she's going to burn herself. I think people are going to get sick and tired of her, and I think the Democrats are over her crap, and I think a lot of Democrats, and the people I've talked to, they're afraid of her. They're afraid of her army that she has that will attack at all cost. They're afraid of her. But I think at some point in time, there's going to be some stuff that'll come out because that's what happens in situations like this. We start to hear things. So it'll be very, very interesting to see how this plays itself out. But I'm sorry. 35 is about as young as you like when it comes to stuff like that. Can we agree on that? Should a 25-year-old? No, I don't care how mature. 35. 35 should be it. 35 should be it. As far as running for president. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Yesterday, the Super Bowl was played.
We moved the ball decent. We just couldn't get the points on the board, and for one reason or another. But in the end, it feels a lot better than last year when we did get some points on the board, and just a great win for our team.
Yeah, Tom Brady right there winning his 6th. But earlier in the day, President Trump was talking about football, talking about the relationship with the likes of Roger Goodell and stuff like that. But I was also asked a question about Kaepernick, which, of course, the big controversy of the halftime show and all of that stuff. And why should anybody be there, singing any of this, and representing the NFL?
Are you sensitive at all to players like Colin Kaepernick who point out that the majority of victims of police violence are black?
Well, I'm the one that had passed judicial reform. And if you look at what I did, criminal judicial reform and what I've done, President Obama tried, they all tried, everybody wanted to do it, and I got it done. A lot of people in the NFL have been calling and thanking me for it. Really? They have been calling and thanking. You know that people have been trying to get that taken care of, and it's now signed into law.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, you can't, that's real, right? That is real. I mean, is it enough for some people? No, it'll never be. And again, that's the polarization in the political world that the Foxes and the MSNBCs and all of the other ones think that all these people are watching this. You know, CNN is on behind me right now. And I can tell you right now, it's probably about 700,000 people in a country of 350 million watching this. So same thing with Fox. And so when we think about stuff like, but then got to the question about football itself, the game, and his son.
Would you let your son, Barron, play football?
It's a very tough question. It's a very good question. If he wanted to, yes. Would I steer him that way? No, I wouldn't.
Why?
I wouldn't. And he actually plays a lot of soccer. He's liking soccer. And I just don't like the reports that I see coming out having to do with football. I mean, it's a dangerous sport.
It is. It is a dangerous, dangerous sport. And that is the reality. No matter how you chalk it up, it's a dangerous sport. Even take away the brain side of things. Patrick Chung last night shattered his arm. None of those guys were near 100% playing on that field. After 20 weeks, 20-plus weeks of battering your body when you count in, training camp, preseason games, everything, none of those people were 100% on the field last night.
It's really tough. I thought the equipment would get better, and it has. The helmets have gotten far better, but it hasn't solved the problem. I hate to say it because I love to watch football. I think the NFL is a great product, but I really think that as far as I've heard NFL players saying they wouldn't let their sons play football. So it's not totally unique, but I would have a hard time with it.
Yeah. No, and I go through that all the time with my son, Jack. He loves basketball. We had this big discussion last week. I said, Jack, you love football, you love basketball. He's like, I said, which one do you love more? He goes, Dad, I love to play basketball, but I love football. But I can't let him play tackle. And if you look at the numbers, of states where the decline in high school football, it's a precipitous drop. Places that once were a bastion of football teams, predominantly white areas, that was huge Friday night lights. They're canceling seasons, and it's only going to get worse. And Malcolm Gladwell called it the ghettoization of football, much like you saw in the through the turn of the century and into the 50s and 60s is people of color using the sport to hopefully escape poverty, get an education with a shot of one day going pro, where white parents are saying, meh, you know what? I don't want to cancel it. I don't want the game to be taken away, but my kid will never play. My kid will never play. And that's the reality of that. Where, places like South Florida and a bunch of other places across the country where that is not happening, and you're finding more and more of that where kids are looking, it's an escape. Where boxing used to be that escape for a lot of, it's not that way. Now it's football, basketball. But really, football's still that opportunity there. And it'll be very interesting to see what happens going forward. But yeah, he's right. There are a lot of NFL players like, my kid, I did this. My kid doesn't have to do this. I did this. They don't have to.
They called it the Facebook when Mark Zuckerberg and 4 other Harvard students launched it in a dorm room in 2004.
Facebook is an idealistic and optimistic company.
And that is how he described it last year when Zuckerberg was testifying to Congress about the social network that's become much more than a place where friends voluntarily share things.
It's clear now that we didn't do enough to prevent these tools from being used for harm as well.
But despite concerns about election interference, fake news, and privacy, a study by Pew says today more than 2/3 of American adults use Facebook.
Yeah. That's huge. It's massive. On top of that, right? People, they say, are happier when they're not using Facebook, but less informed, according to a new study. Happier as far as the positive, more positive in their life, and they just feel like there's this impending doom over them doesn't seem to be there, which there shouldn't be anyways, but that's neither here nor there. But here's the thing with Facebook. What are you worth to them? What are you worth? Well, according to this, get ready for this. The United States, us, just us, we are 3 times more valuable to Facebook as a user than Europe, 10 times more valuable than the Asian Pacific region, and 15 times more valuable than the rest of the world. So you being on Facebook makes them a ton of money, more so than anywhere else, because we are such a consumer-based nation. Think about that for a second. You were always the product. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. You can tweet at us. Butcher Box. All right, I'm not going to say I went and got a new grill. I'm not going to say what grill it is, but it was an amazing grill. It was Traeger. And we did pork. Oh, we did burgers. Oh, Butcher Box, thank you. Oh, most incredible thing ever. The meat is just awesome. That's how awesome. Like, my old grill wasn't good. I had to get something new because I felt like my meat outshined the grill. And even so, the meat outshines the grill. Butcher Box is incredible. Delivered right to your door. Guaranteed to be humanely raised. No antibiotics, no hormones ever. Grass-fed, grass-finished beef. I had burgers last night where it looked like an actual picture. Like when you see those things, you're like a menu, like, and then you get it, and you're like, it never looks like that. It looked like that. And it tasted so incredible. Sockeyed salmon now. Yeah, they got that. Incredible. Pork, best pork you're ever going to taste. To me, still the most amazing thing is how great their pork is. And their chicken is just, it's massive. What are you waiting for? Competitive price, free shipping, and meat delivered to you less than $6 a meal. Are you kidding me? What are you waiting for? This is what they're doing for my listeners right now. All right? 2 free cuts of filet, the most tender premium cut of beef from Butcher Box. Free bacon, $20 off your first box when you sign up at butcherbox.com/Chad. It's a $50 value all in your first box. What are you waiting for? Get it now. Go to butcherbox.com/Chad. That's butcherbox.com/Chad. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
The underlying crimes include murder and kidnapping and torture, and the testimony has been anything but boring. It includes naked, narrow escapes through underground tunnels. It includes spying on mistresses and girlfriends and even his wife. It includes a boastful El Chapo talking about plastic surgery, and it has also included the rather novel ideas that he came up with to squirrel drugs into this country.
Yeah, big time. And the jury now has the case. And that's very interesting when it comes to being, there's like, you ever thought, I could be on a jury, you know, wouldn't that be interesting? It's like, I'm not just talking about a run-of-the-mill case. I mean, a case like this. This is like one case you're like, I want no part of any of this whatsoever. Period. Case closed.
There could be jurors who are scared. They're kept anonymous for their safety, and they may feel like internally they don't want to be responsible for convicting someone that they've just heard for the last 3 months is so brutal. The reality of it is the jury form is quite complicated. There are 10 separate counts. Each of those counts has underlying crimes that the jury must decide whether the prosecution proved or did not prove. And so just going through the facts of the case and deliberating together could take some time.
Yeah. It'll probably take some time, but I think we can, probably think he's probably guilty of a few of these. And this guy is so violent. They say in modern time, he's killed the most people when it comes to drugs. You look at Pablo Escobar. He laid out the roadmap. He is the gold star and the gold standard for when we look at drug dealers, right? But this guy, with the drugs and the amount of drugs and the things that come, he's killed the most. Pablo probably killed more at his hands and ordered, but this guy, with his drugs, has probably killed the most. We'll find out. I have a feeling, and this is just a feeling, that he may be guilty. But I don't know. Stranger things have happened? No. This would be the strangest, I think. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Here's an interesting note from the NFL I thought was hilarious. So they got that fan experience, and Usain Bolt, the fastest man on earth, did the 40-yard dash, which is the big thing they do at the combine. He tied the record of the fastest 40-yard dash, basically in just goof around track shoes and track shorts. I mean, a tracksuit. Just makes you sit there. How fast is that human being? Your useless fact of the day. If Lake Superior flooded, it would cover North and South America in a foot of water. That's how deep it is. Have a good rest of your Monday. We'll do it again. State of the Union tomorrow. Night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.